Hello there, carpologists. I'm Joe, and today you join me on a rather miserable wet autumnal day in Essex. But in this building behind me is the Daiwa trade show. So we're going to go in, have a look at some of the new products they've got, and more specifically look at a few items in particular with Danny Fairbrass. So let's head on in, have a look, and see what it's all about.
So this is the new crosscast quick drag. I'm using these in my fishing at the moment. I'm off shooting thinking tackle next week and also masterclass just after that. It's amazing now how much these things are and what the performances you get out of them. This is a low end big pit reel. Cast almost the same as a Basia in my opinion. Yes, it's a little tiny bit heavier, but it's got a brilliant line clip on it. Obviously really nice styling, being black all over. If I was getting into carp fishing now and I wanted to fish big lakes, that would be the one I would be using. This is the new ISO, but basically completely in black. I had ISOs when they first came out, so they had the lovely little sort of red tippings on them, and they've basically done this to sort of meet the need of the modern carp angler. Everybody wants everything matte black now. It's mag sealed as well, which means magnetically sealed, so you don't get any grit inside the reel, so the reel itself is going to last longer. Difference between this and the crosscast, it's much lighter in weight and just feels that little bit more solid. And I think that's what you're paying for really, is extra performance, lighter weight, and probably a longer life in the reel. So, you know, if money is no object, then the ISO is the next one. Finally, I was going to say Rolls Royce, but it's probably Bugatti Veyron sort of type of reel. This is the new Basia, again matte black. Even lighter in the reel, so the materials that are used for these are much lighter than what you get in the crosscast and even in the ISO, so you get a big reel that weighs almost nothing, which means you can cast it that bit further because it moves through the air that bit quicker. It's got a slightly deeper spool on it now compared to the original Basias, and again that's in response to what people have asked for. Brilliant line clip as always. You know, that's really important. All the Daiwa reels, you know, it's really, we put a lot of emphasis on that when we're consulting for them. They must have a really good line clip. We're all hitting the clip in our fishing all the time. If you've got something that damages the line, then it just makes it impossible. So, you know, it's nice that they've got just as good a line clip on the really expensive reels as they're putting on the cheap reels now. So if money is absolutely no object and you want the top of the range, then the new Basia is the one. We've got 3 rods here from Daiwa, all got the same rings on, all look very, very similar in the rests, but are wildly different in price. And basically what you're getting for the extra money is better and better performance. So what we've got here is a Whisker DF. This is a 12-foot 3-pound, made in the UK. You know, a great finish and everything on the rod, and this will cope with probably 90% of what people want to do in their carp fishing. It will cast a bag and a 3-ounce lead, maybe 90, 100 yards with good accuracy. And like I say, it'll cope with most things that we do in this country. But when you start getting into real long range work, you know, then this rod will fold up and it won't give you accuracy into the wind with heavy line at really long range. But as an entry-level rod that looks absolutely fantastic, you know, if I was fishing lakes up to sort of 10, 15 acres, then you don't need any more than that. So the next one is a longbow. This has been updated. It's got the X45 material in the middle of it, and what that basically means in the midsection of the rod, you've got that little bit more power and a little bit more crispness. And I've used these when I've been filming recently, and it's the first time I've used a 3-pound rod for quite a long time. And when you're fishing smaller lakes, what they do is they just make it easier to be accurate at these medium distances. So I've fished small lakes with my 12-foot 3 3/4 infinities before, and when you're only fishing 50, 60 yards out, sometimes you overcast so you hit the clip too hard, sometimes you undercast so you don't hit it hard enough, because it's difficult to fish at medium distances with really sort of stiff, powerful rods. And moving over to these 12-foot 3-pounders, just every time I cast out, I just hit the clip perfectly, every single time, which really surprised me because I hadn't used a rod as light as this for quite a long time. So again, up to 100, 120 yards, if you put tapered line on these, fished maybe a 3.5-ounce lead, you get them 120 yards, but that would be pushing it. But medium distances from right under your feet up to about 90, 100 yards, super duper accurate and really lightweight. That's another thing, if you go into a tackle shop and pick a load of different rods up, when you pick a Daiwa rod up, the tip doesn't feel heavy. It's not like it's pulling it down to the floor all the time, which you will find. You get rods with a much slimmer profile, but actually means there's a lot more carbon in them, and it means they're heavier in the tip, and they just feel tip heavy, which basically means they're harder to work through the air and cast. So that's one of the main advantages of the Daiwa rods. They're all very, very light in the tip. And then top of the tree, when I'm doing my sort of, really sort of extreme fishing, then I've always got my infinities on. So this is a 12-foot 3 1/4, which would be my light set of rods. If you were going for casting all the time, it would be 12-foot 3 3/4, which is what I use most of the time. If I have to, I'll fish them really close in and just not pull as hard. And then if I'm fishing up to sort of 130, 140 yards with tapered lines, then it's either this one in 12-foot or in 13-foot. It's got the minima guides on it, just the same as the others, which are very, very lightweight, hardly any ceramic, so the line flies through them. And like I say, they all look very, very similar. The difference between this and your whisker is going to be the weight of the rod itself, so it's much lighter, it's easier to move through the air, and the recovery, which means that how long it takes for the rod to go back straight once you've let the lead go. The faster the recovery, the more the line runs through the ring straight and the further it goes. So this rod has got a much, much faster recovery than the whisker. And if you're fishing in extreme situations all the time, then my advice is you need to pay the extra money and get one of the top end rods.
There you go, a first look at some of the new products coming out from Daiwa, talked about by Danny Fairbrass. For more information, do visit the Daiwa website. There's going to be a lot of the other stuff that we didn't mention in this video on there, so please do take a look at that. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you again soon.